Well, good morning. Bobby Lee here from Hurricane Creek Farms, coming to you on a beautiful, little bit cool Sunday morning, but a video that's kind of long overdue, and that was kind of our heifer wrap up for 2023. If you like our normal videos, kind of a little more action, you know, out here with the animals, which we did while these ladies right here eating their breakfast, kind of using them for a backdrop, but it's going to be a lot more talk, a lot less action in this video. But again, usually one of our more popular videos every year where we break down how we had done the previous year, you know, in a specific segment of the operation. As you can see, if you're already picking at the numbers, talking about our heifers, which the bred heifers that we sold back in December. And so in years past, our farm up the road, what we call our gilt edge farm, what the kids call the new farm, we usually run a group of steer calves, buy 500 to 600 pound bulls and steers, turn the bulls into steers, graze them from basically March to September to November, somewhere in there. Last year we got a wild hair and said, let's do heifers, bred heifers. Let's buy some good heifers, get them bred, sell them back. You know, market conditions, you know, our national cow herd is smaller than it has been in like 60 years. People aren't keeping back replacements. At some point, these people are going to need to start replacing, you know, some females in the herd. So just thought we saw a big opportunity there. So just to get into the numbers, what we did, we bought 30 head, 30 Angus heifers, commercial heifers. They weren't registered, out of Kentucky on March 23rd. Paid $40,500 for them. Had $1,100 in trucking. Came out to $1,387 per head, you know, once we unloaded them off the truck. Of course, we spent a little money on them, our bulls, because obviously, again, we were you know, wanting to breed them. We actually had 2 bulls turned out with them. One is a bull we still have with our heifers, some homegrown heifers up the road right now. The other was a bull we'd actually borrowed from a friend of ours. If you were watching, you know, following along for the last, you know, few months, you know, we had several issues with the bulls. But the bull we had borrowed actually ruined his penis. Couldn't breed anymore. We ended up selling him just, you know, as a salvage bull. This $1,550 is basically the cost difference between what we sold him for and then what we bought them a replacement for. And so it comes out to $52 a head, you know, on those 30 head. Now, we'll point out too, again, we had 2 bulls. I didn't figure in the cost for the other one. 1, because we still have him. 2, if it had only been 30 heifers, we really could have gotten by with 1 good mature bull. Now, then you do leave yourself in a situation where you can't afford for something to happen to one of them, which obviously did. But we had about 45 heifers these bulls were out with. We just had, you know, roughly 15 of our own homegrown ones. So, you know, if you really wanted to, you know, put in every single cost, you could say, well, you can make that more like $100 a head. You know, if we had gone ahead and just sold both bulls at the end of the year, that's about what they would have ended up costing us, whatever. Vet cost. So we bought these heifers. They all came off one farm. They had already been vaccinated, dewormed. You know, we knew they were good heifers in that regard. We still spent a little money. We BVD tested them, which is actually free through our state lab, but you have to overnight the samples in. There's a little cost there. When we pregnancy tested them, we did blood test, kind of same thing. It's not free, but just a few dollars a head, and you know, and then having to ship the samples to the lab. Total for all of that, we had a couple of like kind of minor illnesses, abscesses, stuff like that, but figured it right at $30 a head for that. I don't know if my shadow is messing me up. The bigger cost, $70 a head. That's basically for our free choice mineral we keep out for them, you know, year round. You know, if you watch us very often, you know, we take them a little feed every day, but in reality, it's not very much feed at all. We sold some of these heifers basically right at the 1st of December, some like closer to like the 20th of December. So we had some hay costs. We started feeding hay early this year because we had a real dry fall. So there's some hay costs figured into there as well. So purchase price, you add up these figures, we had $1,539 per head total in these heifers. Then, of course, we talked about the pregnancy testing, where we did not do very well. We only had a 70% conception rate. 21 out of the 30 were bred. Not good at all. A lot of that we blame on a lot of the bull problems we had. Again, one, the more mature bull, one that was probably doing most of the breeding, you know, prior to him having his injury, ruined his penis. He had also roughed up the younger bull, not terribly. He's the one we still have, but he was kind of, wasn't doing any breeding. And then it came down to, well, he had to because the older bull got into his issues. So, yeah, 21 out of the 30 were bred, not great. Now, you'll see here though, we sold the 9 open heifers. I believe it was in September, maybe first part of October. We tested them, they weren't bred. We had no use for them anymore, just sold them through a feeder auction. $1,606 a head. So I actually made just a little money even on them. What's that, $67 or so a head? I mean, not getting rich, that ain't worth it, you know, to only make that little bit per head. 'Cause one thing we don't figure in here at all is our time, but we felt like we were in pretty good shape there. We're like, you know, we still made money even on the ones that were the failures, more or less. So then our 21 bred heifers, which we sold them in kind of 2 different groups. That's why we come out with kind of an odd number as far as what we sold them for. $2,126 per head is what we averaged on them. So then when you average the open ones and the bred ones, $1,907 a head, or $70 a head, was the total average price we sold heifers for, again, bred or open. So pretty simple math there. 1970 minus our 1539, we profited $431 a head. Pretty good. We, you know, kind of going into it, I had aspirations of doing even better than that. You see some heifer sales and whatnot where they're getting a lot more than that $2,200 a head for bred heifers. You know, these were natural service. You know, a lot of those, you know, commercial heifers, you know, if we had artificially inseminated them, known, you know, exactly what day they were going to calve, that sort of thing. You know, too, with AI, you know, everybody at least assumes you're using some really superior genetics there. You could have increased that. You know, different little things we could have done to have gotten that number up. We could have been more stubborn. Marketing is tough with the heifers because, I mean, we put them on the internet and word of mouth. You know, when we get ready to sell our stocker steers, you know, we do a little bit of, you know, making some phone calls and that sort of thing, you know, make sure everybody knows, you know, exactly how good a quality these steers are. But basically we call a truck and send them to a feeder auction and they're sold that next week. This was, you know, it was just a little tougher. We had, you know, had to wait until a buyer came along that wanted what we had and we could agree upon a price. So to make things a little more tempting for this year in 24, actually, gentleman who bought the last, I can't remember how many bought, may have been the last 14 or so. He went ahead and told me, he's like, he'd like to buy, you know, do the same thing again this year if we were going to do it. Now, for a variety of reasons, one, all the troubles we have with the bull, whatnot, we'd already decided really not to do heifers this year. I don't never say never kind of thing, but back to this year, we're pretty happy with that. In the past, with our stocker steers, we figure we need to make at least $100 a head to make it worth our time and just the risk we're taking on. $200 a head is where we feel like, okay, we've done good. And we've been able to do that for the last year or two. I will tell you though, this year, because my brother did do steers, he did not do the heifer thing like I did. He did this good or even a little better with steers. The market has just really been great here lately. I say great, it's been good. He bought them at a relatively good price last spring. And the market just kept getting better and better all year. And yeah, he put a good bit of weight on them. That's the whole name of the game, grazing them for that many months. So, and I mean, I was happy for him. I wish he made $800 a head. But I had a lot more headache and manpower, you know, having to run these heifers through the chute multiple times, you know, to then preg test them and everything else, and then just the struggle with marketing them. He made that much money too, selling his in September, whereas I made a little less than him, and I kept mine for 2.5, 3 months longer than he did. So that's where, yeah, I look at this year, I was like, man, I should have just done steers. So that's probably why we're going back to steers this year. But anyway, you know, when we look at it, we say, okay, well, where could we have done better? You know, that 70% conception rate is a pretty obvious one. You know, we really should have been, I think I had said 85% was my goal when we kind of set goals at the beginning of last year. Had some obvious reasons why we didn't get there. So if we were to do it again, I would still set that goal probably at 85%, because I think that is achievable, you know, if you got things to go a little better. You know, to the marketing's just tough. You know, maybe in the future I would look at getting these heifers into a special bred heifer sale, something along those lines, maybe even artificially inseminating, just doing something to add just a little more value here and there to them. But overall, no real complaints. We learned from it, you know, and we've been happy with it. But appreciate y'all watching this video. If you got questions, I know you will. There'll be some of y'all. Drop them in the comments. There's always a link to or just my email address in the description of the videos. There's a link to our website where you can contact us through there as well. Yeah, we appreciate y'all watching. These girls behind us, we're right in the middle of calving right now. Hope you're checking out our other videos, whether it be the full-length videos or the YouTube shorts. But yeah, I'm gonna get inside here, spend some time with the family here the rest of the day. Beautiful day. Been blessed with pretty good weather here kind of mid to late winter. But we appreciate y'all watching. Y'all eat beef and God bless.